my goodness. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing the all-new Camaro ZL1. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to Gage that works here at the Larry Miller Chevy in Murray for giving me some time with his brand new ZL1. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you guys can see what they have currently. And something that I absolutely love about the Larry Miller Chevy here in Murray is they do not charge any markups over MSRP on any of their product, including the new C8 Corvette. So if you want to get a great deal on a new Chevy, definitely reach out to them. Make sure you ask for Gage. And with that being said, let's jump right into the review. Under the hood, we have a supercharged 6.2 liter V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 650 horsepower and then 650 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 13 around town and then 21 on the highway. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more reviews just like this, then I recommend that you subscribe because I post videos every single day on a variety of different cars. Anyways, going over the front end, you guys can see we have the carbon fiber here in the center, which just looks so sweet. We got the ZL1 logo on either side, of course, and I love the spec on this one being white because you can really see, like, again, the carbon fiber element there in the center and then the blacked out elements that are all around on the car. If you take a closer look, this has the Camaro's best looking headlights because, well, let's be honest, the new headlights on like the SS, yeah, they just don't exactly look as cool as this. And then you guys can see the daytime running light down below. Notice the Chevy bow tie is hollow because you need a lot of airflow to feed that supercharged 6.2 liter V8. And we have our ZL1 badge there off the side. Then you guys already saw with the aggressive front splitter. And this car just looks so cool. You can tell it means business. Coming around the side here, our timing wheel setup is 285, 30, 20 in the front and then 305, 30, 20 in the rear. And I really like the wheels here on the ZL1. They aren't too flashy or anything like that, but I think that they just look good with the overall design of the car. You guys can see the size of those rotors. I mean, you need massive rotors because, I mean, it's a pretty heavy car, lots of power, right? And then the calipers says ZL1, which is pretty cool. And then notice here at the side skirt, all blacked out. And popping back, you guys can see the full side view here of the car, and again, it just has this clean look. So here's our key fob for the ZL1. You guys can see the Chevy bow tie here on the back. We have our unlock, lock function, remote start, and then the opening here for the trunk. Now, this literally just has a regular Camaro trunk, so we're not going to focus too much on it, but yeah, it's regular Camaro trunk. Anyways, moving on from that to the rest of the rear, this has the cool taillights that you can get with the newer ZL1s, which I really like. Originally I liked the more squared off ones, but I think I kind of prefer these more. So I'm actually going to remote start it so that you guys can see what the lights look like while they're on. We'll get to the exhaust later, it's really loud, but there's what the lights look like. You guys can see parking sensors here on the rear, and then with the diffuser, and then those aggressive exhaust tips. This does have an aftermarket exhaust. It's a Corsa exhaust, and let's just say it's loud. It's very, very loud. And then you guys can see with the body painted spoiler there at the top, and so there's the rear. Now, popping inside the ZL1, I love the interior. You guys can see with the red stitching and the Alcantara that goes across, and then down below here on your armrest area, and then look at the red leather trim, really cool, because again, that matches the stitching, actually. We do have our window controls here. They are automatic. Memory seats as well, and then we have speaker for the Bose sound system, and then notice Camaro right there. And before we go over the front seat, I do want to quickly go over the rear seats here. So I'm not going to pop back there. They look really cool because you got the Alcantara in the center and they get red seat belts, which is cool. And then you got the black leather with the red stitching there on these seats. And then they actually have better access to the wireless phone charging pad than the driver does. But just like every other Camaro, legroom cramped, and then also headroom cramped as well. But anyways, going over the front seat. So first off, got the red seat belts, and these are Recaro seats. These are my favorite Recaro seats in any muscle car because, first off, they look really cool, and secondly, you don't lose any of the practical functions. These are still heated and cooled. Notice ZL1 logo, and then I love the piping there all throughout the center, and they're also power adjustable, so like they're the most practical Recaros. Pedal layout, you guys can see two pedal layout. Now you can get this with a manual transmission, but the most common transmission is the 10-speed automatic. We'll kind of talk about that a little bit later. And then up above, we got controls for the heads-up display. Steering wheel is manually adjustable. Let's pop in. So here's a steering wheel in the ZL1. You've got Alcantara all around, which is so cool. We got the ZL1 logo here at the bottom. And then we have practical stuff like volume controls and voice command controls, controls for the center stack, paddle shifters for that 10-speed automatic transmission. And then you guys can see cruise control, heated steering wheel button, turn signal light stock, windshield wiper stock, you know, the normal works. So here is the center gauge cluster. You guys can see analog gauges on either side, and then we do have that screen there in the center, which we can scroll through different bits of info. Let's see what he's been averaging so far. 13.6 miles per gallon. He does commute with this because it is his daily driver, but still, like, it's not exactly the most economical vehicle on the planet. But the next thing is the drive mode. So you guys can notice we're in sport mode right now, but you've got a touring mode, which makes it a little bit quieter, and obviously that's like your daily driver mode, and then sport, and then track, and then snow and ice. But obviously sport mode is the mode that you want to be in all the time because it's fun. Now here's the center infotainment screen. Sorry about the glare, but anyways, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, and it looks like the mirror moved down when I put it into reverse, which is, yeah, nice feature. Now as for the rest of the infotainment screen, they haven't changed this in years, but I think that functionality on it is still really solid. Response time's great. It's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You got like analog buttons there at the bottom, which help out, and you got shortcut buttons there as well. So overall, I think it's a pretty dang good screen. Now we get into the most exciting part of the Camaro ZL1. Not kidding, because I think it's pretty cool. So guys can see heated and cooled seats, and then notice here with the climate controls, so you turn the outside of the vent and it actually adjusts the temperature, which is definitely a fun thing. And then look at the shifter, we got tons of Alcantara on that. And then we have our stability control, drive mode select, parking, brake, and then you guys can see some cup holders here. Pretty normal center console, and notice we got the nice red stitching. And we also have a bunch of Alcantara here in the dash. Sorry about the lighting there, absolutely horrible, but you can see with the stitching, the Alcantara there across the dash. And this is a huge thing for the ZL1 because the Camaro has horrible visibility, so it's got the camera mirror, and we actually have a sunroof here at the top as well, so pretty cool. So here's our window sticker for this ZL1. You guys can see with the warranty, 3-year 36,000 mile bumper to bumper, 5-year 60,000 mile on the powertrain. And notice that it comes standard with the magnetic ride control. We'll kind of talk about that a little bit later. But anyways, base MSRP before you add any options, $66,700. We of course have a gas guzzler tax because, well, yeah, not the most economical vehicle. You have to pay a little bit extra for the automatic. You guys can see $15.95, and then we've got the performance data and video recorder as well on this, and then the exposed carbon fiber on the hood. And then after all options, total MSRP is $75,230. Let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off here on the ZL1. Here's your visibility of the hood, and you guys can hopefully now see the heads-up display, which is pretty dang cool. Both of the mirrors throughout the rest of the rear. Yes, visibility in the back cave. Let's set off. Setting off in the ZL1, and in this first part of the video, we're gonna be driving really slow because they're redoing the road right now, and yeah, little rocks and everything are getting flung up, and so yeah, we're gonna take it easy. But once we get onto an actual paved road, then we'll do some, you know, spirited driving, as they say. But this is actually a really good place to show the magnetic ride control, okay? Because it helps out with like smoothing out bumps and everything on the road. Like, it's constantly scanning and adjusting the suspension, and it makes it so that this is riding really smooth over this surface. Like, this is super impressive. And for those of you that are new to my channel, I owned a ZL1 1LE I think it's been a couple years at this point now, ago, but I owned it for about, what, like a year or something like that? I can't remember. I sell so many cars, I lose track. But the point that I'm trying to make is, this is so much more daily drivable compared to a 1LE. The 1LE, like on this same road, this is what the car would be doing. We'd just be going wah, 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 wah. Seriously, like it is that rough. Obviously, you know, it's that way because it's, you know, full on track car, but that's where this regular ZL1 comes into play. Again, with that magnetic ride control, you can actually daily drive it in real comfort. Like, again, we have heated and cooled seats. Like, these seats are actually pretty dang comfortable overall. And so it makes a big difference. Now I'm gonna pop it back into the sport mode because, well, we gotta have our fun driving, that is for sure. So now that I'm actually on a real road, yeah, I know, never thought I'd be saying that in a ZL1. It's crazy how comfortable this car is. Like, I wouldn't say that it's a full-on like luxury car like Mercedes S-Class, but it's so livable. Like, it's crazy. And again, I'm in the sport mode right now, so you know, everything's a little bit stiffer from a suspension standpoint, but like, this is still super daily drivable. Like, I could just put miles and miles on this car. Cannot say the same thing for the 1LE package. I remember I would like drive it, like daily drive it, like every so often, and I would just be like, okay, I can't do this anymore, back to another vehicle. Transmission super responsive with the downshifts. Going over the train tracks, this will really show you guys. By the way, if you hold down the minus paddle, it goes down to the lowest possible gear. Oh my goodness, this aftermarket exhaust, this Corsa exhaust. That is ridiculous. Like, don't get me wrong, the stock ZL1 sounds good, but this is on a whole nother level. I'm actually gonna roll down the windows so you guys can, oh, there's too much wind there, so we're gonna roll up that one a little bit, but so you guys can hear a little bit better. Sorry about the wind noise that's potentially affecting the camera. Wow, this thing is a monster. Now downshift, wait for it. Listen to that. Also, Gage, sorry in advance for decreasing your fuel range by such a massive amount. I'm gonna roll up the windows now so that you guys can hear me better. That's so much fun. This car is so stupid fast and sounds so good. I'm just gonna be quiet for a few more seconds, then I'll give you guys my final thoughts. Oh my goodness. Okay, so summing things up with the ZL1. This makes me have like some regret for selling my 1LE because like this is such a fun car. I will admit, on road, this is a superior car to the 1LE. Again, the 1LE is like on rails, like it was crazy. I remember that car, like I could just throw it around a corner as fast as I'd want and it would just work. Like it was ridiculous. It's mind-blowing, like the grip and performance that car has. However, it's so brutally uncomfortable from a suspension standpoint that it's like you can drive it like once a week and it feels fine, but any more than that and you're kind of like, oh, this is a little bit uncomfortable. But this, on the other hand, you could daily drive it, have a ton of fun with it, and just, yeah. And again, the exhaust on this is absolutely just ridiculous. This is probably the best sounding brand new car being sold for the 2023 model year. Like, what other car does that nowadays? That's ridiculous. Thanks again, Gage, and if you have the money, I definitely recommend the new ZL1. This thing is so underrated right now. Nobody's talking about it, and they should be. That's gonna sum things up with our video on this ZL1. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to Gage for giving me some time with his brand new car. And like I said, if you want to order a brand new Chevy with no markup over MSRP, then just reach out to Gage. I'll include a link to the Larry Miller Chevy and Murray's website in the description down below. I'll see you guys.